Let's talk about Paris, a city known for its charm and wealth. It's amazing to think how this city of lights shines so brightly in Europe. It is a big center of luxury goods with famous brands like Hermes and Chanel, making it rich. These companies export billions each year.
But there's another side to this story. Just outside Paris, things look very different. The areas nearby, like La Valence, have a hard time. Unemployment is high and buildings need repair. Services are not as good as they should be.
The issues outside Paris are not random. The unemployment rates are above 15%. Infrastructure is falling apart. Our public debt has increased 3 times over the past 25 years to reach a shocking 3.4 trillion.
The interest we pay on this debt is more than what the country spends on universities. Since 2017, we've gone through several prime ministers, but none managed to resolve these problems. This cycle of debt affects everyone.
Since 2017, France has changed prime ministers 7 times. It shows how unstable French politics is now. Each of them tried to make things better, but none of them could solve the big issues. This instability affects everyone's life in France. People need strong leaders to make changes that last.
The political climate in France is not good. There is a lack of lasting reforms that can help people. The leaders can't seem to agree on how to fix the problems. This affects everyone, from workers to businesses. Many people feel the government is not doing enough to help improve their lives.
Real wages in France are not going up. This means people are not earning more, but life is getting more expensive. Prices for things like food and rent are rising fast. It makes living in France hard for many people. Without more money, they can't keep up with the costs. This brings more stress into everyday life.
The high costs are also affecting the pension system. In the past, the pension was a promise of security. Now it takes up 14% of the economy, which is more than what is spent on education or transport. If they can't find a solution, it could threaten the whole system. Don't forget to click Join for paid membership to get all the podcast transcripts and support us.
In France, one big issue is the falling fertility rate. Back in 2010, women had about 2.0 children on average. But now it's only 1.6 children per woman, and it keeps dropping. This is a major worry for the country because fewer births mean fewer people in the future who can work and contribute to the economy. Instead of growing, the population is shrinking, which can lead to many economic challenges.
Right? And this problem is happening just as many baby boomers are retiring. These are people born between 1945 and 1973. And now they are leaving the workforce in large numbers. Each year, around 800,000 older workers retire, but only about 700,000 young people are there to replace them. This means there are not enough workers to support all the retirees, leading to a gap in the labor market.
The changing ratio of workers to retirees is also a big issue. In the past, there were more workers for each retiree. For example, in 1990, 5 workers supported 1 retiree. But today, that number has dropped close to just 2 workers for each retiree. This makes it hard for the economy to support all the retirees, impacting pensions and other social services that retirees depend on for their livelihood.
That's right, and the impact on pensions and healthcare is significant. As more money has to be spent on pensions and healthcare, less money is available for things like education and infrastructure. This creates a strain on the system, and if this trend doesn't change, it could lead to even bigger problems for the country's economy. Everyone, including current workers and future generations, will feel this pressure.
When we look at productivity in France, we see some worrying numbers. Between 2015 and 2023, productivity only increased by 0.3% each year. This is very low compared to other countries in the OECD. We need better technology, education, and infrastructure for productivity to grow. Without these changes, it's hard for the economy to thrive.
Low productivity growth affects many areas. When people are not more productive, the economy doesn't grow as fast. It becomes a real problem when the population is getting older. An older population needs more care and resources, so the economy needs to be strong to support this. If productivity doesn't improve, it's difficult to provide for everyone.
The aging population in France creates a vicious cycle. As more people retire, fewer workers are available to maintain the economy. This demands more spending on things like healthcare and pensions. But with fewer workers and not much increase in productivity, there is less money to cover these costs. It makes everything harder when the money needed is not there.
When wealth is not growing, meeting the needs of everyone is challenging. The economic resources decrease while demands increase, making it tough on the current workers. They end up supporting not just themselves, but others too. This situation leads to more pressure on the younger generation to keep up, and without a good solution, the cycle continues.
France's industrial decline is a big part of the economic shifts we see today. In 1980, manufacturing was 26% of the economy. Now it is only 13%. This change is more than just shifting to services. It has huge effects on workers and local communities. When factories close, jobs are lost, and the local economy suffers. This causes real problems for workers and families.
The introduction of the euro also played a role. France lost 900,000 manufacturing jobs within a decade due to increased competition. Labor laws made French workers the most expensive in the Eurozone, with employers paying nearly 50% more than gross salary. This caused companies to move production to countries like Poland and Spain, where costs are lower, leading to fewer jobs in France.
The impact on local economies is quite intense. When a factory closes, it doesn't just affect the workers there, it creates a ripple effect. Other jobs and services and logistics also disappear. Property values go down, and young people leave, which further weakens the local economy. This brings many challenges to people living in those areas.
The result is an industrial exodus and a split economy. With factories moving abroad, regions outside of Paris struggle. Paris still has high-value service jobs, but the provinces face job cuts and slower economic growth. There's a gap between the thriving city and struggling rural areas, widening economic differences within the nation and adding pressure to the economy as a whole.
Let's dive into the current political scene in France. The political system is very fragmented right now. There are 5 main political groups, each trying to gain control, but none are strong enough to lead alone. This fragmentation makes it nearly impossible for the government to pass meaningful reforms. The divisions keep the country in a state of political gridlock, with no clear way forward.
Macron tried to push a pension reform, hoping to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. This move was legal but unpopular. The backlash from his own party and the public was severe, causing his approval to drop dramatically. The failed attempt highlights just how difficult it is for any leader to make sweeping changes. The political environment is not ready for big reforms, and this affects many aspects of French life.
France also struggles with tax and labor reforms. The current tax system is really complicated and full of loopholes. It discourages new investments, but fixing it is no easy task. Any changes would lead to some groups losing their benefits, sparking protests and political blowbacks. Similarly, labor laws make youth unemployment high, but efforts to make changes are met with union resistance and protests in the streets.
These challenges create room for political radicalization. Many people feel left out, causing a surge in support for anti-establishment parties. More people are backing extreme left and right parties. This shift in voter opinion shows growing frustration with the current political and economic systems. While they can't form a government on their own, these parties can block others from governing, adding more tension to the political landscape.
We see a shift in how investors view France's economy. Once, French bonds were seen as very safe, like German bonds. Now, with bond yields rising to 3.2%, it shows worry about France's financial health. This change will increase costs for France, impacting public finances because each rise in yield means billions more in interest to be paid.
Exactly, and these higher costs are unavoidable. They must be paid on time to avoid defaulting. With this, France faces more pressure in managing its finances. The old economic model, supported by strong investor belief, is shaking. The trust that kept France borrowing at favorable rates is now in question.
Looking back, France's model was a balance of capitalism and welfare. This worked for many years as growth was strong and people felt secure. But with decreasing belief in the model's sustainability, this balance is at risk. Without trust in the system, the support for further debt becomes a problem that could lead to deeper financial issues.
And these financial issues are serious, especially considering the EU's Stability and Growth Pact. This pact was designed to stop the very problem France faces: rising debts. The rules aim to keep deficits in check to prevent financial chaos in the Eurozone. If France struggles, it could challenge the stability of these financial agreements within the EU.
Please like and subscribe to our podcast if you enjoyed this chapter. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you in our next episode.